Welcome back to the Low Bottom High Rise podcast with me, your host, Moira Casaba. And we have a short but really sweet episode today. I've had so much on my mind about what I want to share in these next, several solo episode podcasts. And this jumped out at me this morning. And I thought, I am just going to table everything else. And we are going to go into this just for maybe 15 minutes. So it's going to be short and sweet. But I've shared this several times on my own Instagram, my own socials, my own newsletters, but it is the top 5 regrets of the dying. So this comes from over 1,000 interviews with people literally on their deathbeds. And I want to say that a lot of these, I think, are very interwoven, and that they kind of overlap. But the first one hits me more than any of the others. And that is, I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not what others expected of me. I think about this so often when I always call it like the Oprah moment, right? When if you're my age or around my age, you remember probably watching these, I don't know, maybe it's just me, these Oprah episodes where people would come on and they would be living these crazy, amazing, happy, authentic to them lives. And it would be some type of storyline like, I was, working in finance on Wall Street in Manhattan, and now I run a bed and breakfast on an island in the South Pacific. And I just thought, I used to always think like, how courageous, how incredible that somebody could take such a wild leap of faith and pursue truly what their soul has called them to pursue in this lifetime. And I know it's obviously easier said than done, but I think that so often we're called to this on more micro levels, meaning I was thinking about this as I came into this morning for my audience that are coaches, or you've got social platforms, or you're building a business and you're sharing on in newsletters and whatever it is, coaches, things like that. Are we sharing? Are we teaching? Are we creating content around what truly our soul's purpose is? That thing that resonates the deepest in our soul? Is that what we're sharing? Is that what we're talking about? Is that what the conversation's around? Or are we creating content that we know is going to get clicks and likes and traction, right? It's so easy to fall into what society expects of us versus creating conversation around and bringing attention to what our soul is calling us to, right? So I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not what others expected of me. Are you living in a place because you have family obligations? Are you in a job because that's what society deems is safe and smart and responsible? Are you doing, and this is such a big, and this is what I'm talking about, like maybe we can't make the leap from Manhattan to the South Pacific, but on a more micro level, are we doing on a Friday night and a Saturday night what we're kind of society expects us to do? Are we going to the new restaurant downtown that everybody's talking about? Are we doing this? Are we doing that? Or are we saying like, hey, I want to get together with my girlfriends and do some energy work? And I remember one of my friends, it was so incredible. She sent out an invitation for her birthday, and it was a sunrise invitation. And she had like her friends there doing worship music, sunrise on the beach. There was probably like 50 people there. It was kind of like this, almost this ceremony. And I was like, this is the most amazing thing ever, right? But what do most of us do? Oh, it's my birthday. Let me invite people out for a dinner or a party. We tend to fall into society's, box of what we're supposed to do in our profession, in our free time, in our career, in social media, and whatever it is. And so really asking yourself, are you living a life that's true to yourself, or are you living a life that society has expected from you, right? That's the number one regret. Number two, I wish I would have let myself be happier. Just joy, you guys, joy, right? And I think if we are living a life that is authentic to our calling, that is authentic to us and not number one, what society is telling us to do, that's where happiness lies, right? It's pursuing what we are called to. And so this simple, I wish I would have let myself be happier. Like we have to just find more ease and more joy and more laughter and more fun. We take everything so seriously as adults, and I am so guilty of this, right? Like I think of myself in my marriage as like not the fun one. My husband's like a total goofball and he's always joking around. I'm always like, ah, we got to do this, we got to do this, we got to do that. And it's like, no, like let's just allow ourselves. I mean, think about this, guys, on our deathbed. Are we going to want to have taken things more seriously, or are we going to have wanted to just be happier and have more joy? That is so in our control. So in our control. Okay, number three, I wish I would have expressed how I truly felt. I think this can be taken at so many different levels. For me personally, I read this and initially I'm like, I definitely express how I truly feel. I don't ever hold back. You know, like I'm just such a bluntly such a blunt person. Like I'm not gonna allow. I'm not gonna say. I'm not gonna sweep something under the rug. Like I'm just such a big believer in my relationships, whether it's professional or personal. That like throw it all on the table. Honesty is the best policy. Like that's what's gonna make everything stronger. So I definitely speak my truth all the time. But I think this could be taken a little bit differently too. And when it just says, I wish I've expressed how I truly felt, I think so often we aren't because we're so busy and we're taking things so seriously and we're go, go, go. We're not saying it enough, right? We're not expressing our love enough. We're not telling our friends how much they really mean to us. We're not expressing our appreciation for people that we love. We might be honest, like I feel like I am, but there's not enough time spent reiterating it, right? Having more conversations around how we truly feel about others in the good, right? So I just think that's so important. I think so often, and I'm going to get to the next one because this like intertwines. Um, Let me see. There's one more. Here it is. I wish this is number 4 out of 5. I wish I would have stayed in touch with friends more. So this kind of is the same sentiment in a way, because what we're saying is keeping in touch with our friends more, telling them how we feel more, having more fun with them, right? Like it's all in the same sentiment of, I always think if I was to be diagnosed with a terminal illness today, like I would call my brothers and sisters immediately. Like, what would you do in the first hour if you were to be diagnosed, or if a tragic accident was to happen? Who would you pick up the phone and talk to in that first hour? So often, those aren't the people that we're spending time talking to. Guys, I'm so guilty of, well, I have a whole lot of brothers and sisters, but weeks can go by without me talking to them. And, we have the amazing relationships. And I've always said, like, weeks can go by and, we just pick up where we left off. And if anything was to ever happen, we'd be hopping on a plane and, show up on each other's doorsteps. So we have that. But the reality is, why would I not be talking to those people so much more frequently? right? Why would I not be picking up the phone and talking to old friends that I love more frequently? Why would I not be, if we have literally 24 hours in a day and we're not spending maybe one of those hours with the friends that we love, that we have relationship with? We've got our priorities mixed up, right? We have our priorities mixed up. Think about, if you had 1 week to live, who would you be spending time with? What would you be saying? What would your conversations be? Where would you go? What would you see? Right? We need more of that in the everyday. And then last but not least, it's all intertwined, guys. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. At the end of our lives, we are never going to say, I wish I worked a little harder. I wish that I had made a little bit more money. I wish that I had, sacrificed the fun, sacrificed the conversation. All we're going to want is more joy, more happiness, more time with those that we love. I keep thinking about the fact that, so much of what I study and so much of what I teach is energy and vibration and joy and love, and just being higher, a kind of a higher on the totem pole of that energetic vibration. Like, that's actually what we seek. We think that that is going to come with the job promotion. We think that's going to come with more money. We think that's going to come with more financial freedom. We think that's going to come with weight loss. We think that's going to come with a relationship, whatever it is. So we're driving, like working so hard to acquire these goals and these things and these, check the box, because of the feeling. It's not because we want the financial freedom. It's we want the feeling that we think the financial freedom is going to give us. But here's the reality. That feeling that you're actually striving for is available to you right now in this moment. Like right now, you can choose joy. Right now, you can choose abundance. Right now, you can choose love. You can choose freedom. You can choose joy. And so, what if our goal was the feeling versus the box that we think we're gonna check to get the feeling, right? That's all we ever want, guys. That's all any of us want. Every goal is because we seek the feeling behind it. So strive not necessarily for the goal, but for the feeling. So I hope these resonated with you. I would love to hear which one resonates with you the most. For me, it is definitely the first one. I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not what others expected of me, right? One of my favorite quotes of all time, Wayne Dyer: don't die with your music still in you. You were put on this earth with music in your soul, with a song that you're supposed to sing, with work that you're meant to do on this earth. That is your purpose. That's the plan, the master plan. Go pursue that. Thanks for joining, guys, for this super short and sweet episode of the Low Bottom High Rise podcast. We will see you next week.